Welcome to the Powerlifting and Power Ballads podcast, where we bring you a weekly dose of powerlifting news, tips, and training advice with a touch of 80s rock ballads. This podcast is presented by Team Roar Powerlifting, your source of the most comprehensive coaching and meet day preparation. Here are your hosts, Josh Rohr and Laura Sturm.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome. Powerlifting and Power Ballads. You all know it. You all love it. I am the host and proprietor of this. No, I'm just joking. That belongs to Mr. Josh Rohr and Laura Sturm. Hello, you two. How's it going? Welcome to the podcast. That's a reversal.
Yeah. Thanks, Geno. Thanks for having us.
Geno! Woohoo!
So we'll start right off the bat with the topic that everybody's talking about. You are coming to Georgia for the Georgia State Championship, correct?
Yes. Yes, sir.
Yeah. How did that come about?
I just got a text message from Becky, from
Awesome.
Becky Holcomb.
Yeah.
She just said, are you available? And here's the dates. And it just happened to work out. Again, my calendar is pretty busy. And I had an opening on that day. It was the only opening in the entire month, actually. And in the entire month of February and March, that was the only opening I had. And that was when they were running the competition. And I said, wow, the timing of this is just perfect. I would love to come. And it's been a while since I've been down there. I can't even remember the last time I went down there for a competition. Can you?
No, I was trying to think of that too. I'm not sure. Yeah, I'm not sure. It's been a minute though.
Pre-COVID, probably.
Yeah. I think last time I did one, Latavia was running the competition and you were lifting, Josh. Is that possible?
Yeah, that was a while ago now though. That was
I think I would have been lifting too.
Yeah, Laura was too. We were both.
I beat Josh. Don't you remember that?
Anyway, we're not going to go into that, but yeah, Laura kicked my ass that day. So one thing I thought was cool, Geno, they, Becky and Kathy posted that you were coming and I talked to you on the phone. We played phone tag back and forth a little bit and then we finally got on the phone and I told you it was posted and your first reaction was, oh man, I don't want people to think it's about me.
Right.
Which has always been the way you are. You always want it to be about the lifters. You always want to put the spotlight on them. And I don't know, you've been doing this for, I don't know how many years now. How many years have you been doing this?
Well, on and off for 20 years.
Yeah.
Full time. I don't know, maybe 10.
Yeah. And you've obviously gathered a following and people know when Geno's at the meet, it's the next level meet, right?
Right.
And you are still of the mindset, which I think is really cool. Like people want to go to meets where you're at, but you still try to make it about the lifter and not about yourself. And I think that's really cool. I think it's a cool thing.
I appreciate you saying that. That's contrary to what other people in the IPF have told me. They said, you're thinking this is all about you. This is about the lifter. And I never go that route. I always try to make it about the lifter.
Yeah. And I've never gotten that impression from you. I mean, you know, you when you're doing your thing and you're in your element, like, yeah, you can be pretty outrageous sometimes. Right. But I think that's what people love. Like the lifters love that. The spectators love that. I genuinely don't think you're doing that for you. You're putting your heart and soul into it for them. And I think I'm sad that people don't think that's the way it is.
Yeah, it's only a select few at the very high level of the IPF. I won't mention any names.
Yeah.
but that aside, they got a lot of lifters, right, Josh? 240 something lifters.
We're up. I think they had 260 something the last.
Wow.
Which is the largest state meet that we've ever had.
Wow. Now I have one important question, Josh. Are you ready?
I'm ready. Go.
Laura, are you lifting at the competition?
No.
What? No, Laura Sturm. How could it be?
Laura Sturm. Yeah. Haven't hit the platform since 2000, since Mongolia.
I was gonna joke with her, Josh, and I was gonna say, what? Do you have to go to Mongolia to lift? Because that's the last time I remember seeing her lift.
After the Arnold? Was the Arnold after Mongolia? I can't remember.
Yeah, I guess you're right. You were at
Yeah,
the army.
that'd be it.
You know, she bought me a beautiful gift from Mongolia. Beautiful, beautiful gift. I'll always remember that special gift that you gave, and that was very sweet of you.
Oh, I'm glad you enjoyed it.
Are we
That
going to
was
say what
that's
it
great
is?
meat.
Because I don't know what this gift was.
Because I didn't get shit for Josh.
It's kind of like a zitar or whatever type of guitar like instrument that they play there that's indigenous to their culture, and it has its own pedestal, and it goes up on a very high shelf where you want people to see it, and it's got its own little light over it. You know what I mean? A showcase in your cabinet or on your mantelpiece. And I try to collect something from every country that I go to, and I didn't have anything from Mongolia. I went all the way out there to the statue of Genghis Khan, and I didn't pick anything up. And then she gave me that, and I was like, now I have something to remember Mongolia by. And Laura.
Oh, well, that's great. I didn't know that. That's
cool.
awesome. Because
I
I
need-
have little souvenirs that haven't made it to such prominent places either. So.
All right. So can I ask why you're not lifting? Is it because you haven't been training, or you just taking a break, or what? Or you don't want to get into that?
Yeah, I haven't been consistently training. I probably not really interested in getting back to the platform anytime soon. Once I blew out my knee and had to have surgery, I really haven't come back to train. Yeah, there you
Gotcha.
All right, so I want to do something a little different, Geno. So bear with us. This is probably not your standard interview. We're going to do 15 rapid fire questions that are unrelated to powerlifting.
Okay.
Just to get to know Geno a little bit more. So Laura, do you want to read them?
I love it.
All right, and the goal is to get through these in 60 seconds. So first thing you think of.
Well, I need to scroll down a little bit then. Hold on 1 second.
Pressure's on, Josh.
Pressure's on.
All right, pressure. Rapid fire. What is your favorite breakfast?
Eggs and sausage, and fried eggs, sausage, bacon, and toast with jelly.
Ooh, very nice. Describe your style in one word.
Gregarious.
Nice, accurate. What word do you have a hard time pronouncing?
Statistic.
Obviously, yes. What is one subject you'd like to learn more about?
I'd love to learn more about space, about outer space, and all of the physics associated with that.
Nice. Sounds like a master class in the making.
Yeah.
What is the stupidest dare you've ever agreed to?
To get in a shopping carriage and get pushed down the aisle when I was working at a theater. The guy that rips the tickets, and the theater kind of angles up. There's an incline, right? The floor incline. And when I was ripping tickets at the theater at the Christmas party, everybody took turns sitting in a shopping carriage and then having somebody push you and turn the light out, so you would wheel down the aisle until you hit the front of the stage where the screen was. That was pretty ridiculously stupid and crazy.
Did you get hurt?
No, thank goodness. I hurt my back a little bit, catapulted it, out of that, but it was it was stupid. It was ridiculous.
All right, finish the phrase. The way to my heart is
brownies with peanut butter.
all right, duly noted. If you were to write a book, what would it be about?
Oh God, I'd like to write a book about the rise and fall of the Roman Empire.
Do you know a lot about the Roman Empire?
I know a fair amount, but if I was writing the book, I'd have to do all that research, and I'd know a lot more. I want to know.
Okay.
I want to know how they went from all roads lead to Rome to basically getting blown out of there in about 400 AD. I think research would.
would tell you the story.
Yeah.
Do you have a bucket list?
No, I just wing things as they come. I don't have any specific list of things like, like jump out of a plane or climb to the top of Mount Everest. I just take things as they come.
Have you ever delivered a perfect comeback?
You mean like Costanza? well, the jerk store called and they ran out of you. Remember that episode, Josh?
Yes, of course I do.
And then he wants to fly to Ohio to zing the guy from New York to Ohio just so he can zing a guy. Laura, I'm sorry. I can't think of one. I cannot think of a zinger, let alone a non-perfect, even a non-perfect zinger. I can't think of one. I'm going to have to pass on that one. I'm sorry.
That's a no. All right. Would you ever skydive?
Yes.
Summer or,
Go ahead.
summer
What?
or winter? Summer or winter?
Summer for sure.
Beach or mountains?
Beach.
Under or over with the toilet paper?
Over for sure.
What's one thing you wish people knew about you?
That I am compassionate.
Nice. Would you rather fly or have super strength? If you had a
Ooh,
superpower,
fly.
Ooh. Do you learn by watching or learn by doing?
Both.
Worst Josh Rohr memory?
Oh, okay. You ready for this?
Yes.
We're in Atlanta. Ray Williams is about to squat 1,000 pounds, right? That was where Ray did that, right? In Atlanta.
That was, yeah. Mhm.
And I'm pumping up the crowd and the spotters and loaders are putting the plates on. And I hear Ray mumble under his breath. He's pacing back and forth. And I hear him mumbling under his breath, load it up. And I grab the microphone and I say, ladies and gentlemen, you know what Ray just said? He said, load it up. I said, let's everybody get behind me and let me hear you say, load it up. And I'd scream, load it up. And the whole audience would go, load it up. And I'd say, load it up. They'd say, load it up. People were screaming and yelling. They were hanging from the rafters. And Josh starts the music when he comes out for the lift. And it's Billie Jean, Stop My Girl. I was like, are you kidding me, Josh? This is going to be an epic lift. And since he didn't turn in any material for the specific song, you came up with this great idea of having prime time. This great idea of having everybody get their own song that they want if they turn one in. He doesn't turn one in, so Josh puts on Billie Jean. Now I love Michael Jackson, great entertainer, great performer, but not at a powerlifting competition. We don't need Billie Jean. That's my worst experience with Josh Rohr.
Okay, let me counter that though.
Yes,
now,
sir.
Present day, when you hear Billie Jean, people think that's the song that Ray squatted 1,005 to, and that gets him hyped.
What did Ray think about it?
I don't know. I actually never.
Did we ever?
I guess what are we like 8 years later? We should maybe have Ray.
We need to have him on and replay that moment with the music playing and be like, what are you thinking? Do you hear this music?
It's possible that during that moment, Ray was so in the zone that he heard no music.
Oh, I'm sure. Yeah, I think that's probably true. And, I still, Geno, you and I'm going to defend myself on this one because I think a big part of hype songs is how much energy you're getting from the crowd. And I think Billie Jean relates to more of the people watching, more so because they're not getting ready to do the big lift. They're just trying to have a good time and be excited. And I think that song kind of gets people excited. And as a lifter, you feel that energy from the crowd. So I think basically what I'm saying is I think I'm responsible for Ray getting that 1,005 pound squat.
So I would counter that with saying, okay, Geno, what if we were to replay, go back in time and you could choose which song it would be, what would it be?
Oh shoot. Maybe if he was coming out for that, maybe Kickstart My Heart or Bleed It Out. Kickstart My Heart from Motley Crue, Bleed It Out from Linkin Park, um, something from AC/DC, maybe, If You Want Blood, uh, or something from Rage Against the Machine, like the Renegades of Funk. I don't know, something like.
I was thinking like Ozzy, Crazy Train.
Oh, that's a cool one to come out to.
I mean, that would make me squat 1,000. No, actually not.
So you know what song I really like as a walkout song that is kind of slow developing is Lunatic Fringe.
Oh my God, is that from the 80s?
It's got to
Yes,
be.
of course.
Who sings that?
Red Rider.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah.
Well,
I
I'm
love
gonna
that
remember.
song.
I'm gonna remember that the next time I have to announce you, Josh. If I ever catch up with you, where I'm announcing and you're on the platform with equipment on, I want to make sure I remember that.
Yeah. You just have to fast forward through like the first minute of intro. That's just like real slow, weird music.
Right.
True. So
Yeah,
that'll be the has-beens meet that we're putting together.
Yeah.
Where Josh and I and some other people that haven't lived in a long time come back and I'll compete against each other.
Yeah.
L'Oreal 0.0 miles stickers, right?
Right. Exactly. 0.0.
So if anybody was curious, that 60-second rapid fire with Geno took 7 minutes and 14 seconds.
Shit. God, we failed. Man, that's just.
That's all right. It was entertaining.
All right. Well, we're going to move on to the powerlifting situation. So here you go, Geno. More fast thinking. So you're running a powerlifting meet and you have to blindly trust one person, not yourself, to put together the meet playlist and serve as the meet DJ. Who do you choose and why?
Ooh, there's a guy by the name of Moses out of Minnesota, and the reason I would pick him is I've announced before with him on the iPad, and it's like we were mind melding. I would say, hey, can you put this song on? And he'd say, I already have it queued up. Like he knew I was going to do it. And he knew when to turn it up, when to turn it down. He knew to turn it down during bench. He knew to turn it a little bit louder when we were deadlifting. And he knew what songs I wanted to start each session off with. And if I threw a curveball at him, he had that song queued up in 2 seconds and ready to go. So he'd be my guy, Mr. Moses from Minnesota.
Nice.
Awesome. We had a lot of
right now.
Yeah, we had a lot of people comment and mention you on our Instagram post, and I think I was curious what you said because if I were you, I would say myself, right? I would say
Right.
Geno, but you can't do that in this world. So that's a good answer. I have another curveball. This is a weird one. It just popped into my head. Hypothetically, let's say they're loading up 302.5 and all of a sudden Iron Maiden won't play. What song do you put on for 302.5?
I got a couple of other reserves. That's a great question, Josh. Running with the Devil from who are they? From Van Halen.
Yeah.
Isn't that?
Yep,
that
Van Halen.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Or I would put on, which I have done, Highway to Hell from AC/DC.
Also a good choice. All right. See, you know what you're doing. I'm just, I'm trying to trip you up on this. You got quick answers on all of these. I like it.
Hey,
Fail.
let me tell you a quick funny story then about me DJing once when I was announcing. I was in Florida. I had kind of like you set up for me, Josh. You set me up with your cell phone where I can adjust the song volume and the songs right on the cell phone through the Bluetooth, right?
Yep.
And my buddy Bill Sindelar is chief referee, and it's coming down to the final hole between these two lifters who keep lifting back to back. And one of them said to me, I have a request. Can you please play it for me? He wanted Pantera, Cowboys from Hell. And then the other guy wanted classical music. He wanted Mozart. Now you can't get any further apart than those two. So I'm trying to announce the meet, and I'm trying to get these two songs, which the only way I could do it was by going to YouTube and then pulling up the video. You know what I'm saying? So you're tapping a lot of buttons and it takes a minute or so. So I keep playing with the phone every time these two lifters come up. Bill Sindelar calls, this was years ago. He calls a timeout and he comes walking over to me and he says, you might want to pay attention to the lifters and what's going on instead of playing with your phone. I said, dude, I'm the one that's playing the music that they requested, the Cowboys from Hell and the Mozart. I have to change it on the phone. He said, oh, and then he walked away.
Never mind.
It's funny.
You might want to pay attention to what's going on. He was hurt by that, How dare you send out text messages while this competition is going on? Yep. But Bill and I get along. I've since visited Bill at his ranch out there in Nebraska, his cattle ranch.
I've never visited him out there. I always thought that'd be cool to go out and see it, but just never have.
Very, very cool. Great place to visit. A lot of fun.
Bill and I have gone and played poker a few times though.
Have you really?
Yeah.
I didn't know you were a gambler, Josh.
Yeah. I like to, I don't know if I'm a gambler, but I like to play poker.
Well, I'd say that one leads to the other.
Yeah. So that statement right there should tell you all you need to know. Oh man.
We could also get started about Mafia. He loves Mafia.
Yeah. I'll have to teach you that game, Geno, sometime. That is a great group game. You basically lie to people's face.
All right. I got to tell you something. Do you remember when Bryce Lewis had his thing last year out there in
the Lift for Charity thing?
Yeah.
Yeah, I remember. I mean, I don't know the details, but I remember when it happened.
I went out there for that, and they played that game, and I had no idea what the hell was going on.
Hold on, are you serious? They played Mafia out there?
Uh-huh.
Oh my gosh. I love that. And I'm gonna have to call Bryce. I just think that's, I don't know. I'm obsessed with that game. I think it's the coolest game ever. And it's a really good way to kind of like people get to know each other a little bit more because everybody has to interact. And I don't know, maybe it's because I'm antisocial. That's why I like it, because it forces interaction. I don't know, but it's really cool. I love it.
Did you ever figure out the game, Geno?
No.
Oh, I can help you next time. Hey,
yeah.
When you're here in Georgia, we're gonna have a sit down and we're gonna go through the details of it.
I was gonna say you got to give me a tutorial.
Yeah.
So
by the end, you're gonna be like, "Get the hell away from me! I don't want to talk to you anymore." This game's not that great.
Josh takes it pretty seriously, and he's perfected how to play it virtually. I've heard.
Yeah.
Well,
through Zoom.
There's bluffing involved, right?
Yeah, it's basically, all right. You know what? We got time. So here's how the game works. Essentially, everybody that's playing is part of a town, and depending how big the group is, usually it's one person, sometimes two, is the Mafia person. And essentially, every round, everybody closes their eyes, and the one Mafia will point at somebody to kill off. So only the narrator knows who they picked.
Right.
There's a couple other characters, but just the brief version. Then everybody opens their eyes, and the narrator tells who the Mafia person killed off, and they're out of the game. Everybody discusses and basically votes on who they think is the Mafia person, and that person is out of the game. And if they voted the correct person out, that is the actual Mafia, the game's over and the town wins. But if they voted out an innocent person that is not Mafia, then everybody goes back to sleep, and the same Mafia will kill somebody else the second round. And it keeps going until either you vote out the Mafia or the Mafia kills everybody off and is basically the last person standing.
Who often wins? It seems like the town has an advantage.
So I would say in my playing, it's usually, I'd say the town wins probably 75% of the time.
Gotcha.
But if you're the Mafia person and you get to beat everybody else, because essentially that's where the bluffing and lying comes in, is like if somebody accuses you, I have to make a good argument why it's not me, and basically look them in the eye and say, I'm not the Mafia person. and lied to them
Gotcha.
to their face. So
Gotcha.
some people are better than others at that. For some reason, I guess I'm not too bad at it,
Yeah.
which is not really a good thing, but
Well, it means you're a good poker player. How about that?
yeah, that helps.
There you go.
Yeah. So
All right.
Yeah.
So now that we know all about Mafia, we're going to circle back into powerlifting. So new lifter tip of the week. So practice your squat walkout. It should be simple and repeatable. It should be the exact same, whether it's an empty bar or 500 pounds. Agree or disagree? Geno.
Totally agree.
same. I agree as well. Good tip.
Well, I mean, me too, of course.
Yeah, I just think there's a lot of people we see at even more advanced lifters. I mean, hey, going back to Ray Williams, even not to call him out, but I was the chief referee at his first USA powerlifting meet in Alabama, and his walkout with 800-pound opener was a train wreck. Strong as all get out, but it was just all over the place. And I think he's really done a good job of refining that over time and making it more consistent. So anyway, I want to go back to the space thing, Geno. I'm also fascinated by space. And so what specifically is it, like the space exploration, like the space shuttle, like those things, or like actual, I'm just curious to get more feedback on that from you, what you are really interested in space wise, because I have a whole laundry list that I'm going to tell you about.
Wow. All right. I'm more not necessarily, the shuttle's part of it. Space exploration is part of it, but just how the whole cosmos works. How many millions, how many billions of galaxies are out there, and how many millions of stars within each galaxy, and then how many millions of planets that is. It's a number so big you can't even cite the number. And how far we would have to eventually travel. Can we break the speed of Einstein says no, but can we get going faster than the speed of light? How close is the closest star to us, the next star to visit it, and where are the Goldilocks planets? You know what I mean by Goldilocks planets, Josh?
No, I don't.
They call the planets Goldilocks, the Goldilocks zone, which means they're close enough to the sun, but not too far away, so that they are properly heated and they have the right amount of water. Too far away, they're cold; too close, they're too hot. Earth is in the Goldilocks zone.
To sustain life, you're saying?
Yes, to sustain
Okay.
life. And I would just want to know. I want to know about wormholes. I know they're just theoretical, but are we close to being able to, on a small scale, being able to work with wormholes, and Einstein-Rosen bridge, which is the wormhole that he talked about in the theoretical concept. I'd love to, because if you can master wormholes, then you can get to points across the universe that would normally take 10 light years. And light years is a long time, pal. I just want to know how many other galaxies are out there. When are we going to get the chance to get to these other galaxies? And how far off, how many hundreds or thousands of years in the future is that before that becomes a reality? So it's the gravitational force and black holes and dark matter and the Higgs boson. I could just go on and on and on with all the stuff that I just find so fascinating when you sit at night and look out at the stars.
Yeah, so I think that's super interesting as well. I wonder the same things. My fascination with space actually started on the opposite end of it. Like I always wanted to be, like growing up, I wanted to be an astronaut. I wanted to fly the spaceships is what I wanted to do. And I actually went to space camps, space camp singular. And then my route to become an astronaut in my head, my best option was to become a pilot in the Air Force. So I actually, met with the recruiter and everything. Turns out I'm colorblind, so I wasn't ever able to fly in the military, which kind of, that's kind of the point where I changed directions. But, I studied extensively, like all of the Apollo stuff, and that stuff just always fascinated me. The moon specifically, like you're getting way out beyond our solar system. And I was even I spent a lot of time just like researching like all the all the stuff from the moon landings and all of those things. And there's just so much out there. Like, and that's just the moon. Like you're talking the entire galaxy, and there's so many unknowns, and it's very interesting to me too.
Well, conspiracy theory here, all right? Since you're into the moon, I want to know how the moon happened to become in the place it was in. I know they say that some sphere knocked into Earth way back when, billions of years ago, and the two planets collided, and then the debris turned it and formed into the moon. But others aren't convinced of that, and there's a lot of conspiracy theorists out there that say the moon was placed right where that is by an intelligence, because it's just exactly the right diameter to cover the sun during a solar eclipse. And it's not 1 mile short or 1 mile longer. It's the exact probability that would happen. So you'd have a full solar eclipse is astronomically high. Also, they said that all of the craters on the moon, all those hundreds of craters, thousands of craters, they're all the same depth, which their point is that the moon is made of is made by some kind of beings, and then covered with the a coating, a geological coating, and that each one of the craters is exactly the same depth. How can all those hits from comets always have just the exact same depth of every crater? It just
is that documented and factual that they're all the same depth? Because I've heard that, but I didn't think that was actually fact. I thought that was just part of the conspiracy theory.
You've heard that same thing I heard?
Yeah, I've heard it, but again, I just assumed that was just some more conspiracy theory stuff that, that's the case. I actually wrote it off as not being real.
Well, then I guess I have to go along with you, because
but I haven't looked it up though. I haven't really researched that aspect of it, because I wrote it off.
I haven't either. But so that just goes to, there's a few books published on this subject, and I haven't read them. So I guess I really shouldn't say that as a fact. You know what I'm saying? That could be part of the conspiracy theory. Like, we didn't really land on the moon. We did it in Arizona desert somewhere. So you're right. Like, it could be part of the conspiracy theory. You're right. But it's interesting to think about.
Have either of you watched Rocky IV?
A long time ago.
Have either of you watched the Rocky IV director's cut that just came out in 2021?
No.
Nope.
Okay.
I have a short gripe. Don't watch it. It'll ruin Rocky IV for you. But so my nephew was in town, and he didn't know who Rocky was. So we went through and watched all of them. Rocky 1, 2, 3, 4. But I made the mistake so we bought them on Amazon, and I bought Rocky IV director's cut to show him Rocky IV for the first time, thinking it would be a few little changes. And it was a completely different movie. It was the same length, but there was like 35 minutes of never before used footage, which means they took out 35 minutes of previously used footage. And it completely, like, Hope was arguing with me. She's like, it's basically the same movie. And I'm like, no, it is not. It is not the same movie. And it got pretty heated, actually. But I was curious.
Was Rocky IV the one with the Russian?
Yes.
Yeah.
Drago. And Rocky IV is I think my favorite Rocky movie. And after watch, like, I felt so bad. Like, I looked at my nephew. I'm like, promise me that you will buy the original Rocky IV and watch it, because this was not Rocky IV.
This was not it. This is an aberration.
Yeah.
Really.
So I was just curious. I mean, it was a good movie, but it totally ruins like the original Rocky IV to me.
So how'd you go from moon conspiracies to Rocky IV? Is that conspiracy?
No, there's no connection there. It just, my mind wandered there for some reason, and
squirrel.
Yeah, basically.
Laura, I was going to ask the same question. I was like, that's some transition.
Yeah, there's no real rhyme or
conspiracy.
reason.
I feel like there was a conspiracy there.
I'm just saying what's popping into my head for whatever.
All right.
Anyway, so Geno, what were you going to say?
I was just going to say, praises to you for inventing the prime time part of nationals. They're going to do that again this year, right?
Yeah, that's what I hear. Out in Vegas. So I'm definitely excited to head out to Vegas. I do like that place.
How many times have you been there?
Ooh, I've only been there like 4 or 5 times, so not a whole lot, but I've been there a few times.
That's enough. What about
Yeah.
you, Laurie? Vegas?
Never been to Vegas.
Are you
Wouldn't
coming?
really. No, probably not.
So as
I just podcast. That's all I do with powerlifting now.
so I will say this, I very much love playing poker. I think we've already established that, but
And Vegas
there-
is where to do it.
right. But there are a lot of shows out there, and there's one show in particular called Le Rev that's basically an acrobatics like in water type thing that I've seen multiple times out there. Like I won't even, if it's playing, I won't even go see a new show. I'll go see that again because it was so good. So if you guys ever get the chance to see Le Rev, I believe it's at what hotel was that at? I think it's at the Aria. It's awesome.
What's the name? La
Yeah, it's like LA LAREV, Le Rev.
Is it one of the Cirque du Soleil shows?
It's not Cirque du Soleil, but it's very similar concept. But it's awesome. Like in my mind, the whole time I'm watching like all these people doing all this crazy. So there's no talking. It's basically just like really awesome music that tells the story, and they kind of act it out and do all these crazy acrobatics in the water and stuff. But every single one of those people, I'm just like, man, if I could get them on a powerlifting platform, because they're all like super short, just like 3% body fat and jacked. Yeah, but it's really entertaining show.
Probably strong.
Probably have good arches too.
Yeah, probably.
Ridiculous.
So if you get a chance, like definitely, I would say check that out. Like you won't be disappointed. That's a great show. One show, and I feel I don't know how to say this without like losing face a little bit, but I did also, when I was out there, right when it came out, I saw Michael Jackson's One, and it was right when the show came out, and I did not think it was very good.
Really?
And I'm a huge Michael Jackson fan, so maybe that's why I was just a little bit disappointed it couldn't live up to the hype. But I mean, it was okay, but it didn't do it for me.
I have to go, so
Okay.
I'll need to wrap up my part. Y'all can keep talking, but my husband made dinner, so I have to.
All right. Bye now.
Love you, Laura.
Love you too, Geno. It was great seeing you.
You too.
We'll catch
See you.
up again.
All righty.
Continue on.
All
Goodbye.
right. Glad she's gone.
Yeah.
So
now that we got her, that's something Rickles would say.
yeah. Oh, man.
He'd lean into the microphone and he'd say, if people don't even know who Don Rickles is that are listening to this, probably, he'd lean in and say, what an honor, what a pleasure being with you. Fantastic, just fantastic. Is she off? Thank goodness we got the hell rid of her.
Yeah. So I try to purposely say that like when she's still here because it's funnier, because I try to time it. Like I do that to people all the time, but I try to time it so as soon as I say it, it's right as they're hitting the button so they can't even respond to it. So I actually timed that one pretty good because she heard it and then she left.
You know, it's funny when she asked me this. I got slipped up when she said to me, when she was asking me those rapid questions, and she said, "Would you ever go parachuting?" And I said yes. And then after that, she said, "Winter or summer?" I thought she meant parachuting either in the winter or the summer, right? So I thought about that, and I said, "Well, I'm going in the summer. Why would I want to parachute in the winter?" So I said, "Summer." And then she said, "Mountains or beach?" And I'm like, she wants me to parachute over the mountains or the beach. And I'm thinking, I don't want to parachute into the mountains. I don't want to be up there flying around the mountains in a plane. I want to be out where it's clear in the beach and I can land in sand. And so I started to answer all these questions based on parachuting. Oh, shit. I must be tired.
That's awesome. I love it. Some of those were improvised. Those were not original questions. She pulled them out of thin air. So
She really?
yeah. So that's pretty funny though. So how was your Christmas and New Year's, Geno?
Very good, very good. Christmas was home with the family. Um, we all the kids came over. There's six kids, three boys and three girls, and spouses and some grandchildren. Yeah, some nieces and nephews, and we all got together, and everybody took a COVID test before we went over to the house because they're getting a little older now, and we didn't want to be bringing any corona into the house. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So
Not that kind of corona anyway.
right. We all took yeah, we all took tests, and everybody was okay. But on New Year's, I didn't go out because I I ran out of corona tests and I couldn't get any more. And I don't know. The cases were peaking, and the last thing I wanted to do was go to some crowded bar with hundreds of other people screaming and yelling "Happy New Year," you know.
Yeah.
So just watched a little TV, and I watched Journey. I enjoyed Journey, man. Did you see Journey? And were you watching TV?
I saw, yeah, I was. I didn't listen to him though. We turned it up a little bit just to kind of hear it, but that guy sounds just like Steve Perry. Like it blows my mind.
Yeah, I was at a Super Bowl once. They were at a pre-Super Bowl party that I went to, and I got to hear that guy sing. You know, a 2-hour show. He's phenomenal.
Yeah. You know who else sounds just like the original lead singer is Foreigner's frontman now. I can't remember his name, but he sounds just like Lou Gramm did back in the day.
Really?
Yeah. I don't know if you're a big Foreigner fan, but they're probably my favorite band.
It was a Monday, a day like any other day. Yes, of course I am.
So that is Bad Company, my friend.
It is?
Yeah.
You want to bet?
Wait. What? Sing a song. I'm thinking you're singing a different song than I think you are. Like any other day. It was. Yeah. Wait. Yeah. Okay. That is Foreigner. You're right, man. I'm embarrassed.
I should have bet you, pal. Come on.
I know. I'm embarrassed right now.
Cold as Ice. How about Cold as Ice? You like that one?
That's my, you know what? That's my least favorite Foreigner song. I don't know why. It just doesn't do it for me.
Too poppy. It's too commercial.
Yeah, something. I don't know.
But how about 80s? Let me see, 80s. You know who? You too had a lot of good music in the 80s. Do you have any of their stuff?
Yeah, I mean, I love U2. So I always try to play New Year's Day, like on New Year's Eve. I don't know. It's just quirky thing I do.
That's right.
But yeah, I'm trying to think of. I don't know what my favorite U2 song is though.
That's tough. Yeah, I have a lot. I would have a lot of with that.
Yeah.
Yeah, not to change the subject, I want to talk a little bit about. Are you happy that they're having the Pro Series now, and happy about the way you guys have worked that whole thing out, and the money and the timing and the quantity and the locations and all the above?
As a start, yes. I think there's a long way to go with it. I think the general structure of it is pretty good. I think the payouts are really good, and I'm happy about it. There's a lot of people that were kind of working on that, getting it put together. I do think it's going to be a big thing. I think the part that is missing, it's not missing because it is a part of it, is the international component, and that's being developed right now. There's an international committee really working on that and trying to get that intertwined with the Pro Series, and trying to have some sort of international competitions. From what I hear, this year, 2022. So
that sounds phenomenal, man.
Yeah, I'm excited about it. I don't know the details of all that. I was working more on the with the people getting the Pro Series kind of up and running. The international component is a separate committee that's working on that. So I'm not privy to all the details there, but it sounds like there's some pretty cool stuff coming. So pretty excited about that.
Yeah, the international part sounds really exciting.
Yeah, I think so. Because that's let's be honest. Like, people like to travel. Like it's a good excuse to travel anyway. Like, I would have never, like, if it wasn't for competing internationally, I would have not traveled to a lot of the places I ever did. And I think it was, some of the coolest places I've visited. So I think adding that back in is going to be huge.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we got to talk about Seinfeld just because that's the thing. Do you know, first of all, do you know if it's streaming anywhere for free?
No.
I don't either. I haven't actually watched an episode of Seinfeld. It's probably been a year and I feel lost. Yeah. But
all you have to do is ask me, pal.
yeah, no, you're a walking thesaurus of, is thesaurus the right word? I don't even know. Moops.
Oh no, sorry. The answer is moops. It's Moors. That's a misprint.
Yeah. That's still that's not my favorite episode, but that's still my favorite thing to just yell randomly. So I do this sometimes. Hope loves it. I'll just randomly yell like moops, just in like in the middle of nowhere. And occasionally somebody will you can tell that they get it. And that just that makes it all worth it to me. Like even if I never even talk to that person.
Really?
Yeah. I make eye contact with them and I know that they know, and then life is fulfilled.
There's one referee, he's a big fan. And he's a really good fan. And I sometimes make jokes when I'm announcing the order of the lifters. I'll say, up is Jones, on deck is so-and-so, and in the hole is Bob Sacramento.
Bob Sacramento.
And, everybody else in the room doesn't know what I'm talking about. They just think there's a Bob Sacramento. It doesn't faze them. But he starts to crack. He's in the head chair. He's got his arm up and he's ready to say squat. And all of a sudden he just starts to crack up and he looks over at me, Bob Sacramento, a lot of people know that. You have to be a big fan to know that.
See, there are a few characters like that. I feel like Bob Sacramento that's the baseline. Like if you know who that is, you're like just into being a hardcore fan.
Right.
If you don't know, you're not a fan.
I would agree with you. So
there are a few other characters that I think are even more, if you know who they are, then, so I'm thinking of these characters. I used to know all of their names, and now I'm actually drawing a blank. So I'm putting myself on the spot here. But for example, who did Jerry steal the marble rye from?
Shut up, you old bag.
Shut up, you old bag.
Mrs. She was in Boca Vista Phase 4.
Yes.
I forget. Oh God, I forget her name, dude. You're right.
Is it Mabel? Mabel. See, I used to know the name. Like I knew the first and last name, and I feel like, man, I'm becoming a lesser fan right now.
I think it's Mrs. Choate.
Yes, that's it. It's Mabel Chode.
Oh, I got it.
Yeah, you got it. Yes. All right, you redeemed us. There's another one. I'm trying to think. The Jerry's lawyer, the one with the sniffles in the early days.
Yeah.
I can't think of his name either. Man, but these are my list of characters. Like if you know like 50% of them, then you're a pretty diehard fan. The other one is the guy I choose not to run. Do you remember that one?
What episode was that? Give me more info.
That was also early on too. That was the big Superman themed one, where he was dating a girl named, I don't know if her name was Lois or not, but basically it was his high school rival. Like in 8th grade, they had a 100-meter dash.
And Jerry beat him only because
he started early. He
early.
Said, yeah. And George backs him up and says, it was an even whatever. And then he never ran after that because he knew like the legend would die because he wasn't that fast, but nobody noticed that he started early. So
right.
Every time somebody wanted him to run in the future, he says, I choose not to run. And that's the that's the episode then where they finally do a rematch at the end, and Kramer's driving this old beat up car and he's parking to come watch, and it backfires and Jerry takes off and gets like a big head start, and then the other guy's like, oh shoot, and he starts running and Jerry wins. And nobody realizes that it was not the actual gun. So again, the guy's all pissed off because Jerry got a head start, but everybody thought it was the real gun. So, Jerry won.
Right. Yeah, I remember that one.
Yeah.
How about the grapefruit in his eye one?
Take it back. Wink.
I don't understand. Do you want it back or not? He holds his eyeballs open like this. He says, "Get it back." People aren't Seinfeld fans. They have no idea. This is boring news. They have no idea what we're talking about.
Yeah, but the beauty of it is this is our podcast. We can do what we want.
You got that.
Yeah, I do this just for fun. Like Laura and I were talking about that, and a couple people on my team, like, what we should do with this podcast and how we could, use it to market, our coaching and stuff more. And I'm just like, you know what? I do this for fun. I'm actually on here just having a good time talking to people, and other people think it's, maybe they think it's entertaining. Maybe they get bored with it, but I have a good time. So that's
I'm with you. And that's all that counts.
Yeah. So you're coming in town in February, mid-February, right? Is that
right?
That's the meet. Yeah, I'm excited to see you, man. It's been a while.
Yeah, it's been a while since I've been over your house or since I've seen you at a meet. I'm looking forward to catching up with you and hope.
Yeah, for sure. So,
what with the international aspect? Back to that again. The international committee working on that. I mean, they're actually thinking about running competitions elsewhere than the United States.
Yep. Yeah,
Wow.
that's what I've been hearing, and from what I hear, the goal is to actually have USA powerlifting events outside of the US in 2022.
In 2022.
In 2022. I mean, that's the goal. I mean, that's all obviously unofficial because nothing's official yet, but that is really what they're trying to do.
Right. Ambitious goal.
Yeah. But it'd be super awesome. So I think it's good. But,
anyway.
Yeah.
Anyway, the Einstein-Rosen bridge or the wormhole, and traveling at the speed of light, at quarks and gamma rays. You talk about anything that's related to the solar system and or the universe, man. I'm just totally into that. I find that whole topic fascinating and would love to know where we're going in the future with. I know I'm repeating myself, but my God, there's so much opportunity out there, and there's so much we don't know. I really want to get to learn more than I already know and see what the future brings.
Yeah, even going back to your moon thing, like with the craters and everything, like assuming that's not true. I mean, maybe it is. I don't know, but just what are the odds that collision created the moon and all of those particles and debris, or however you want to call it, combined at the exact location that would stay in the perfect orbit without like floating off, or you know what I mean, or crashing into the earth.
And it is the exact right distance so that there is a complete solar eclipse.
Right.
I mean, it's the perfect diameter and the perfect distance away so that there's an exact perfect, down to the foot. And what is the statistical probability of that happening,
1 in 17.3. I'm making it up. I don't know. I had you for a second though. You're like, wow, he knows this. And then you're like, no, he doesn't know shit.
I leaned in and I'm like, wow, he must have read up on this. Where's the meet being held on February? When is that? February 18th?
19th and 20th. Yeah, it's going to be at CrossFit. No Excuses CrossFit in Swanee, Georgia.
Have you been to that facility?
I have. Yeah, that's where they had the state championship last year. They just had a rookie meet this past Sunday there. It was really well received. So They had a lot of people volunteer to be mentors, which basically means, people that have lifted before or are active lifters would show up and just kind of walk the new lifters through all the little details and answer questions and just be available, which I think is a super cool concept.
Yep. That is a great concept.
Yeah. So cool. All right, Geno. Well, I think I will wrap this up here. I think people are probably tired of hearing our theories of relativity and space talk or whatever. I can go on for hours, but in the sake of keeping our 2 or 3 listeners happy, we'll wrap this up. So, Geno, I do appreciate you being on here, man. And I hope to have you back at some point. But good to talk to you again, and we'll catch up soon.
Yeah, we'll talk more powerlifting the next time. And thank you for having me on, pal. I love you.
Yeah, love you too, man. Later.
Bye-bye.
Thank you so much for listening. If you enjoyed today's episode of the Powerlifting and Power Ballads podcast, please remember to subscribe and share it with your friends.